All right, I'm going to go live on YouTube. See if it's actually working. All right. All right, we are live. All right, we'll give it a minute and then we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you. Welcome everyone watching on YouTube. All right. Okay, Michael, we can start. Waiting on you. All right, it is 2 o'clock. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, let's stop sharing my screen. All right. All right. So thank you everyone for attending Oscar Platoon's graduation and demo day. My name is Tom Preet, and I'm the lead instructor here at Code Platoon. First, I'd like to take this moment to thank our volunteers, mentors, teaching assistants, and board members who are working tremendously hard behind the scenes to make Code Platoon's Oscar Platoon a success. Next, I'd like to give a special thanks to our sponsor companies, DRW, JP Morgan, Granger, and G2. These companies have committed to host at least one Code Platoon graduate for a paid internship after graduation. It is the support of these companies and companies like them that help fill the critical void between our training and launching a career in tech. For those of you who are not familiar with Code Platoon, we are a nonprofit coding bootcamp with a mission to train veteran and veteran spouses to become professional software developers in our immersive 14-week program. And what you will see here this afternoon is the result of the last 2 weeks of these teams applying what they've learned the previous 3 months. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our first team. If your family or friends can't decide on an answer to a question, their app, There Can Be Only One, will help you decide. Team, There Can Be Only One, take it away.
Thank you, Tom. Welcome to There Can Be Only One. We aim to solve open-ended, age-old questions like which one is better or what should we name the baby in as little as 10 seconds. My name is Andrew Whitford. I'm a 9-year Air Force veteran, and I am currently out of New York City.
Howdy, I'm Sarah Delheim. I'm a 5-year Air Force veteran, and I live in Central Ohio.
Hello, my name is Jeremiah Maga, and I am a 5-year Marine Corps veteran. I currently reside in fabulous Yuma, Arizona.
My name is Sean Kiernan. I'm a 20-year Navy veteran, and I live in Houston, Texas. I'll be providing an overview of There Can Be Only One. The idea for our app arose from a simple problem. Do you and your partner, family, or friends ever have trouble making decisions? Like where to eat, what to do this weekend, what color to paint the bathroom? If you do, There Can Be Only One will help solve those problems. Current decision-making applications such as Decido use voting algorithms to help groups make decisions, but we wanted to make something more fun. Your group of up to 6 people can use There Can Be Only One to resolve your gridlock via a short, competitive game. The outcome of the games are 90% random, so winning or losing is not strongly tied to anyone's gaming skill level. And following the game, the winning response gets broadcast to all the participants, so everyone sees the winning answer. We hope you'll enjoy using There Can Be Only One to amicably settle your disputes. Now I'll hand it over to Sarah to demo our application.
Thanks, Sean. Hi, I'm Sarah. My friends Jeremiah and Sean and I can't decide on where to go to dinner tomorrow. So my friend told me about this cool new web app, There Can Be Only One, that can help us choose. So first, I'll host a new game session for my friends to join. On the next page, I'll fill in my name, my question, what is for dinner, and my answer, Taco Bell. Everybody likes Taco Bell, right? Next, I'll share the 6-digit game code with Jeremiah and Sean. They can join the web app on desktop or mobile. On the right, Jeremiah fills in his name, the game code I gave him, and then his choice for dinner. And then left on the host screen, I can see my friends as they sign up. So there are 4 different games I can choose for us, all with that sweet retro gaming feel. The dice game, where we roll a familiar 20-sided die and the highest number wins. The weapon game, where we choose from different weapons like swords and spears. The chess game, where we open common to legendary treasure chests. And the beast game, where we try our luck taming wild beasts. I'm going to pick the dice game because it's always fun throwing a d20 around. Here we go. And whee! All right, let's see what I get. Oh, hey, I got a 17. So once everyone finishes playing, I can show the results to everyone. Drum roll, please. Hey, I won. Looks like we're going to Taco Bell. All right. Now I'm going to hand it off to Jeremiah to talk about our technology stack.
Thank you, Sarah. During the development of our project, we used familiar technologies taught to us during our time at Code Platoon and new ones we taught ourselves. We used React as our front end and styled our project with CSS and React Bootstrap. For our back end, we knew we would need a real-time database to accomplish our goals, and we came across Firebase. Firebase allowed us to create sessions and update all users with live information, such as showing users who are currently in the lobby. We also used Three.js, a JavaScript library utilized to render 3D graphics in web browsers. Lastly, we deployed our project with Heroku to make it live to the world. We used all of these technologies to build our application, but it did not come easily. When we first started our project, we had to think about how the overall flow was going to work. We had to ask ourselves some important questions, such as how are we going to get players to join the same lobby? Or how will we get all users in a lobby to start a game? These are the questions we had to think about in the early stages of our project because we knew they would be our biggest hurdles. Communicating and coding together as a team in the beginning, we found extremely difficult. We struggled in the early stages of development to divvy out tasks. We ended up using Trello as a project manager. This allowed us to see who was active on a certain part of our project and prevented work from being prevented. Real-time interaction was a must-have for our application. We wanted to see live data being presented as it was created. Firebase was a big challenge for us. We had to learn how to effectively add and get information from this NoSQL database, which took some time and troubleshooting. We wanted at least one of our games to be really unique, so we ended up using Three.js for our dice game. This ended up being a monumental task, and we encountered problems such as the dice not falling completely flat and returning the value of our dice to our backend for comparison. We overcame these challenges through extensive troubleshooting and plenty of research. I will now be handing it over to Andrew, who will be going over our stretch goals.
Thank you, Jeremiah. So for stretch goals, initially, we set a conservative goal, considering this was a 1.5-week sprint, and we were dealing with 2 brand new technologies, Firebase and React 3 Fiber. Our initial goal was to get a web application that could handle multiple users, deploy a single minigame, and decide a winner. We chose a game that would be simple to implement, rolling a 20-sided die, highest number wins. We were also looking at implementing other games through APIs of already created games. We accomplished our initial goal and pushed it a little further. Considering our progress and how much time we had left, we decided to create our own games. This helped the functionality of the app because it let us create games that could handle multiple players and make very quick decisions. With the time we had, we were able to create 4 games and decided to use the remaining time for polishing the product that we had. In looking towards the future, there are a few ideas we have discussed for continued improvements. There are small improvements found in our bug hunting. This includes things like a better way to handle ties. Rather than running through the game with everyone again, have a system for whittling down players. We discussed creating more games and balancing the ones we have with more meaningful choices. Finally, there is the larger goal of extending the 3D rendering from the dice rolling minigame to the rest of the games. For the dice game specifically, we only implemented a roll function based on varying angular force. However, there is a full environment that is navigatable and comes equipped with a physics engine. This would allow the games to be more interactive and unique, but comes with the cost of creating the 3-dimensional assets. Some games discussed in this category were a Price is Right spinning wheel and a one-shot archery contest. This concludes our presentation. If you would like to solve all of your disputes quickly and with only minor virtual bloodshed, There Can Be Only One is available on Heroku at the link displayed. I would like to open up for any questions.
Awesome job. There can be only one team. So yeah, we've got a few questions coming in from the chat. So what is one feature you wish you had more time to add?
So I think I can take the first one. It was really getting into the, I would say getting into the 3D rendering. It was really, we really only scratched the surface with that because it was a new system to learn. And really it was just the dice, but everything looked a lot cleaner with a lot of that. So given more time, we really could have gotten the physics engine down to more of a T, given the user more options with interfacing with it, even though it was still remained pretty quick.
Awesome. Another one from the chat. What was your biggest challenge as a team?
I think I could take this one. I think in the very beginning of our project, we all came out with these great ideas. We spent the first 2 days all just ballparking some awesome game ideas. And I think we made our scope a little bit too big, if that makes any sense. We ended up getting lost along the way in the very beginning. And we were able, we used Trello. We wrote some really good user stories, and we were able to get at least the first 4 games built early. It started with just the dice game, but once we had the first game built, I think all of us got our jobs and our roles down, and development started going a lot more smooth after that.
Awesome. To kind of piggyback off that question, was there anything that you wish you did differently as a team?
I think as a team, I think it would have been better earlier if I know we struggled in the very beginning with getting the 3D rendering done early, and then we ended up just using basic click functions with CSS and HTML for our other 3 games. I think if we would have spent more time early on together as a full team working with 3JS, I think we might have been able to include all games using that 3D rendering engine, which would have been very nice to have in the project.
Awesome. Yep. Last question. This is kind of like a 2-parter. What alternative backend databases did you all consider in place of Firebase? And like, how does Firebase scale if your app grows to support 100,000 million users?
Sean, I think you're the one that has
Yeah,
more.
I think I can handle this. So if I heard the first part of your question, did we consider other backends? There were no other free real-time databases that we could find in our research to use as a backend, and we needed the real-time functionality of Firebase in order to have the user experience that we have, where you see everyone in the lobby and you play the game at the same time, versus some of the other options like using Django. And second question, Firebase, as far as I know, is a widely used commercial product, so it would scale pretty easily to a large number of users. However, we'd have to make potentially some changes to our front end in order to provide some more robust error checking to make sure that interactions with the database don't cause conflicts once you have that many session IDs.
Awesome. Yep. Great questions. And thank you for answering them. That will conclude the questions for team There Can Be Only One. So next, I'd like to introduce our second team, the Trendy Investor. If you want to see if news or articles will have an effect on the market, then the Trendy Investor app is for you.
All right, thanks, Tom. So we created the Trendy Investor, where the trend is your friend. So hello, my name is Alexander, and I am a 6-year Army veteran and was a combat medic.
Hey everyone, I'm Reno Averill, a 4-year Army veteran where I served as a field artillery specialist.
Hi, my name is Vince Brunstead. I'm a 6-year Navy veteran and cryptologist for the duration of that. So to kick it off, what is the Trendy Investor? As an average stock market investor, I wanted to be able to stay up to date on current events, but I don't always have a lot of time to search across multiple news outlets and social media to get an idea if I'm reading a major news story or just a one-off. That's where Trendy Investor comes in. Trendy Investor is an online, real-time news source for stocks and crypto coins. Our application allows the user to visually see what sectors and stocks are getting talked about across news outlets as well as social media. That data is then compared with historical averages and displayed visually to the user. Armed with such knowledge, the user can dig into those specific trending sectors and then view up-to-date stock information and news. It's a great tool for the average investor who just wants to stay up to date on current events. Time is a valuable commodity. The Trendy Investor provides a one-stop shop for news, stock, and crypto data. This allows the user to acquire all the resources needed for researching the events of the day that will have the greatest impact on the market. So why use the Trendy Investor over any other news outlet? Well, what the Trendy Investor provides to the user that other news outlets don't is that we include the popularity of hot trending events based on the volume of discussion across various social media outlets. There are many ways for the average investor to read up on current events. The Trendy Investor gives the user access to not just one source, but it allows the user to truly grasp the significance of current events and provides that user the tools to dig deeper. It's uncomplicated, easy to use, and it allows the user to create customizable watch lists to track stocks, crypto coins, and favorite articles they find interesting so that they can stay on top of current trends. So with that, I'll hand it over to Reno for a quick demonstration of our application.
All right, thank you, Vince. I appreciate that. So recently, a close friend of mine mentioned a cool new website that allows me to stay up to date with hot new trends in the stock market. I figured I should probably make an account to stay trendy. Let's log into the Trendy Investor app and see what's going on. The Trendy Investor allows me to view market sectors that are being talked about by comparing historical trends to current article output volumes, all while letting me easily choose between different sectors so I can take a deep dive into the subject matter at hand. They also provide the day's market movers that are just right there on the right. So let's scroll down the page a little bit and we'll be able to view some market data. Let's take a deeper look and to see what the news outlets are saying. Seems like Biden's addressing the nation on the war in Afghanistan. I should probably keep this for later because it's sure going to affect the defense sector in some way. While heading over to the categories page, I can really research more into the armed forces sector. Looking at the chart, it looks like the volume is much higher than historical averages. I didn't realize what a major effect this was having. Good thing the Trendy Investor is helping me stay up to date so that I can do my own due diligence as an informed, trendy investor. Now for some more good insight, let's head over to the Trendy blog and see if anyone's talking about defense-related stocks or crypto coins. Wow, sure does look like Lockheed Martin is making steam. I sure wish I knew about this awesome app when GameStop was blowing up earlier. I wonder how Lockheed Martin stock is performing due to all the extra attention. I'll just type a ticker in here. Boom, look at that. Real-time market data populated with recent news articles about the company. I should probably add this to my portfolio so I can keep an eye on things. As for the crypto market, Bitcoin always seems to be a fan favorite. Also a good thing to check on them and see how the trend is moving. Remember, the trend is your friend. Yep, I'll be for sure adding this one to the portfolio as well. All right, as a trendy investor, I like to keep organized and stay up to date with what's happening with my favorite picks. Thanks to Trendy Investor, it's because of you that I now know that investing in the trend is truly my friend. Well, that's a quick demo from the Trendy Investor. I would now like to pass it off to my partner, Alexander.
Thank you, Reno. As far as being able to communicate efficiently with each other, we use the following tools to do so. We spent the first couple of days of our project planning our application in detail on Trello. In addition to planning our project in depth, we used Trello to help us stay in sync on what each team member was doing. Additionally, stand downs and stand ups were provided a time for us to discuss what we accomplished the previous day, what we planned on working on today, and any problem areas in which we encountered. Zoom and Slack were a great medium for the group to communicate and allowed us to connect with ease to stay on track with the duration of the project. Utilizing pair programming was a great success for our team, allowing us to tackle problems quickly and efficiently as a whole. Working on a team is rigorous on its own, but our team did a great job tackling all of the challenges we encountered. One of the challenges we encountered was that each team member was in a different time zone, spanning from Mountain to the Eastern time zone. This required us to be flexible and communicate efficiently with the team's availability throughout the day. The discussions brought amazing ideas to the table from each group member, requiring us to make tough decisions on which features to implement and which ideas will have to be set aside for a later date in order to meet our deadlines. The Alien API was a wealth of information, but required the group to be creative in order to successfully retrieve the data. Additionally, the extensive documentation was both helpful and time-consuming to read through. Working in a group on GitHub was an excellent challenge, and working together, merging our different coding styles into one application. Our tech stack consisted of a Django backend, a React frontend, and a Postgres database. The APIs we utilized consisted of the Alien API for the majority of our news data. The News API allowed us to include a more diverse selection of news articles. And last but not least, we used TD Ameritrade and Anomics API to pull real-time stock and cryptocurrency data. And with that, I'll hand it off to Vincent.
And the last thing that Team 3 wanted to express was just we want to take a moment to really thank everyone involved with Code Platoon, between the staff, instructors, TAs, mentors, and guest speakers. Everyone's really just gone above and beyond. We can't thank you all enough for helping take us from that hello world stage all the way to deploying our own full stack applications. And we're just really excited to have had this experience and be able to go on to that next stage of our career in technology confidently. So thank you. And with that, I'll open it up to the floor for questions.
Great. Awesome job, the Trendy Investor team. So you've got several questions from the chat. So how did your team decide on the tech stack for the project?
Yeah, so I can take that one. So I know the other team started with Firebase, but that was kind of a new concept. And the big reasoning was that I already worked out the niches on the authentication for the backend for users to log in and have their own data displayed per user. And then for the front end, we're all pretty comfortable with React and using components in that aspect. So that went pretty well. For the API side, yeah, I mean, we just found good news source articles and APIs to utilize there. And then I'm a big investor with TD Ameritrade, so I love their API. And then, yeah, we just found another one for crypto as well.
Great. Awesome. This kind of goes in line with your APIs. So how did you select, how are you generating the news articles, or I guess the links? And what was your process of choosing the best APIs?
Absolutely. So I can take this one. So our process relied a lot on our ability to input our search parameters into that API and then what information that API was able to return. So there were some very simple news API, which we did end up using for the stock articles that were returned. It was a very simple application to input some keywords and have it return any articles with either the body content or the title that contained those keywords. For our Align API, that was a lot more useful for the analysis portion, where we needed to be able to track the volumes of articles by day. We needed the URLs to those articles as well as, one of the stretch goals that we were looking at implementing that we didn't quite get to was, displaying the sentiment of those individual articles by category as well. So that Align API really had a wealth of information, both to that it would return to us, as well as the search parameters that we were able to put in really helped us narrow down those individual categories so that we could accurately display to the user by category what what that trend was looking like within that category. Yeah.
Great. If you utilize Zoom to do pair programming or any other type of application, what tips would you share to make a successful remote pair programming session?
So I can answer that, Tom. I guess some of the lessons we kind of learned and early on was kind of just being open to communicating any ideas. Any ideas are a fair game at this point, and that's kind of where you have the Zoom or you have Slack, whatever you're using to communicate with, to kind of throw all those ideas together, kind of vote to see what meshes together and what doesn't. Definitely, communication is also a big component of the success of a team. Just learning how to not step on each other's toes and kind of communicating what are you working on and what is the other person working on to kind of reduce the amount of merge conflicts you may have later on whenever you're setting up commits to GitHub.
Great. What were some stretch goals that you wish you could have had implemented but didn't have time, or what were some nice to haves that you just couldn't implement?
Yeah, so I could take this one. So we all kind of thought, well, it would have been super awesome and super nice if each user could add their own profile, and so a profile image, and make it more like a social media platform, less or more, where users would be able to personal message each other, or even send out a text or email, alerting other friends or associates of their daily stock picks or watch list. That would have been really nice to implement, but stretch goals.
And additionally, I can just add on to that. One of the other things I would have really liked to implement was we wanted to try and display a trend in a category and then try and feed that user down from that trending category down to recommending individual stocks that were perhaps mentioned within articles in that category, and kind of try and not make stock recommendations to a user, but identify things that user should potentially look more into, and conduct further research on the website. So parsing through those articles and pulling out those stock tickers that were mentioned was one thing that we didn't quite get to that we would have really liked to implement.
Awesome. Great. And that concludes the questions for the Trendy Investor. Great job, team. All right. So lastly, I'd like to introduce our final team, Slacker, an awesome app that will help future Code Platoon students and instructors. Slacker app, take it away.
Howdy. Thanks, Tom. Welcome to Slacker app. We made a resource finding web app with Slack chat integration for Code Platoon students. I'm Jack Schuff. I'm an Army veteran, and I worked on the bot and the database.
My name is Steven Sun. I'm an Air Force veteran. I work on the front end side of our app.
Hi, I'm Jonas Polakis. I'm a Navy veteran, and I work on the bot, database content, and some of the design components.
Hi, I'm Mark Stanley. I'm an Air Force vet, and I worked on our Firebase implementation and React components.
Hi, my name is James White. I'm an Army veteran. I worked primarily on the front end and design components of the web app, and I'll also be presenting the app overview. So when we first came together as a group, the project that we now call Slacker was little more than a relatively jumbled bag of ideas that all swirl around two unifying characteristics. First, Code Platoon was and is an incredible program. Second, Code Platoon was an incredible challenge that we'd all managed to overcome. With these two things in mind, we knew that we wanted to make something to support the learning experience of future students and the program as a whole. We recognized that a large degree of the challenge that stemmed from the course was simply innate to the content. The phrase drinking water from a fire hose was thrown around very often to describe the pace. No matter how you slice it, we learn a lot in the 14 weeks we were here, and that's never going to be an easy task. That being said, We also collectively identified another key area of discomfort in the often laborious and time-intensive pursuit of reference and troubleshooting material. To address this problem, we created Slacker, a one-stop shop for Code Platoon students and instructors to both store and access key reference material. Our design philosophy revolved around the premise of reducing overall time spent searching for relevant documentation and potential bug fixes in order to increase the amount of time students spent actually coding. Additionally, we wanted to make answers to common questions students may have publicly accessible and visible, rather than relying on students scrolling through pages of past answered questions. In order to do this, we decided to implement two core features: a web app that would serve as a base of operations where students could search a curated database of references and solutions to common problems, and a Slack bot, which allows for students to query this reference material without even needing to leave Slack. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Mark to demo our application.
Thanks, James. Now let's see how Slacker's web app component works. We're already logged in as an instructor from a previous session. Utilizing Firebase authentication meant we could spend less time making sure user state worked properly and more time on our core features. On the homepage, Slacker displays a search box for querying the resource collection, several curated resources for the Code Platoon tech stack, the daily cohort sentiment graph scraped by our bot component using IBM Watson's natural language understanding engine, and a motivational quote just in case you need some inspiration. As an instructor, we're here to add a new resource that recently helped solve a tech issue for several students. So let's navigate to the resources page to quickly update our collection. Adding new resources is simple. We provide a title, a summary of the content, the category, tags, and the third-party URL to direct the user to. Our Firestore database collection is indexed by Algolia Search API and synced to monitor real-time changes. Now that we've added a new resource, let's switch to the student point of view and search for it on the homepage. Algolia allows us to provide custom search ranking to our index fields to ensure students get the most relevant results to their query. It looks like we found the resource the instructor just made, and after clicking the title, we're directed to the page that hopefully solves our Django cores issue. The other component to our website is our code page. Here we have content tabbed by Python, JavaScript, Markdown, HTML, CSS, and SQL. Users can add code examples using an in-browser editor that not only offers language-specific syntax highlighting, but also language-aware indentation, code folding, auto-completion, and commenting. I'm curious about dates in Python, so let's see what someone submitted. In this detail view, the editor is read-only, but allows the user to highlight and copy text. Updating something is simple too, like this typo that we just caught. So let's fix that really fast, and then we'll pass it off to Jonas to talk about the bot component of Slacker.
Thanks, Mark. Slacker, the operator bot, was constructed as a Google Cloud function-based bot that interfaces with Slack event and web client APIs, as well as Algolia and IBM Watson natural language understanding for sentiment analysis. Among the bot features, it can invite me, a new user, to its channel, as well as provide commands for how to utilize the bot. And I can provide the operator bot a query, at which point the bot will attempt to match the query with an existing link in the database. And along with that, a link to the main database will always be provided just in case the provided information happens to not answer my question. Now, moving along, let's just say that I'm working diligently and, why not? I need some comic relief. Not a problem. Slacker can be prompted to deliver a humorous attempt at a pun, in other words, a dad joke. But what if the dad joke happens to fall flat and is, quite frankly, a bad joke? And I would like something else to lift me up. Okay, not a problem. Slacker can be prompted to deliver an insightful and motivational quote, and now hopefully I'll feel better and be ready to get back at it. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Stephen to talk about stretch goals.
Thank you, Jonas. As part of our stretch goal, there are features we want to implement in the future. We want a way to diversify our current resource page, which is currently only accessible by the instructors. One feature would be to allow the students to submit their own sources. In addition, we would like to add the ability to rate those sources as well. By allowing students to rate the sources, we are able to monitor which content is useful for students, as well as improving the overall quality of the resource page. Finally, our most ambitious stretch goal is to improve on our current Slacker bot to make it more dynamic. What this means is instructors will be able to type in a simple command in a Slack channel to view a particular channel's sentiment using IBM Watson's natural learning language. With that, I'll pass it over to Jack for the tech side.
Thanks, Stephen. For our technologies, we used React and Bootstrap on the front end for styling and rendering of our components. The logic was mostly written in JavaScript, and we used Algolia and Firestore's NoSQL database to store, archive, and search our resources. We used the Slack web and event APIs, along with Algolia and Watson natural language understanding in order to provide the sentiment analysis and receive and send data between Slack and our database. On the workflow, we used a Trello Kanban board where we laid out the tasks that we had to do and the sequence that they had to proceed in. We needed to have a database before we could have a bot pull resources from the database to render into Slack. We used our daily stand-up meeting every day to ensure that the necessary functionality that we needed for next week was coming online this week. Some of the challenges we experienced with this, in particular, the two that stand out to me are the roles and authentication to ensure that instructors and students had a different view on the web page, as well as integrating the variety of bot APIs that we used on the Slack side to make sure that the data flowed between our database and over into the sentiment analysis as needed. Also, of course, the dreaded merge conflicts. We are novices, but we learned quite a bit by the end of about day 3. Basically, our merge nightmare was over. The last one was synchronizing our efforts in a remote setting. We're all over the place. I'm in Pennsylvania. We have folks in Chicago, and we managed to use our daily meetings as well as just checking in on Zoom and Slack to stay abreast of what is happening over on the stylized efforts or in the design efforts in the back end. In closing, I want to say that our daily stand-up really did us a lot of favors in our parallel effort here. We were simultaneously stylizing, designing, and building different components, and it ended up working very well due to the fact that we had a really solid organization in our Kanban board. It was a tremendous effort from this team, and it was a pleasure to work with Team Slackers to accomplish this. I appreciate everything you guys have done, and if you'd like, feel free to have a look at our website at operator-slackbot.web.app, and I am happy to receive any questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Slacker team. So why did you decide to use the Algolia API, and what benefit did that have over just, storing things in, this Postgres database and just doing like a live search from there?
Mark, would you like to take this, or shall I?
Yeah, I can take that. Once we started to really understand the objective of our app, we started to realize that we needed a scalable database that didn't necessarily have any kind of relational context to the different sources. So using the Cloud Firestore database made a lot of sense because you organize documents in a collection, and each resource is a document in a collection. How we conceptualize that. And luckily enough, Algolia is kind of a built-in extension of the Cloud Firestore database. And so that was kind of a natural progression for us in order to be able to index the database that way and search the different fields in each document as a result.
Awesome. Continuation on the Algolia API. So how did you define the boost rankings of the resources in Algolia? Like, how did you determine which resource was more valuable to the user than another?
Our initial read was that we would end up having to modify how Algolia ingested the data so that we could get the proper results. But what we found was, due to the curation that we had done in the backend side on the resources, the data there tended to sort itself, and your query would almost always find the intended article just based off the fact that it hit the majority of the keywords. So we honestly did not modify the baseline Algolia functionality. We didn't turn the dials up on any of the various fields that we were sending into Algolia to modify the query results.
Awesome. And last question, can you talk about in more detail how the web app and that Slack integration works? Was there something special you had to do to add a plugin to Slack and have it interact with your app?
Yeah, so building a Slack app, you use the Slack API libraries, and you have two sets of them. One is the event handler, which will send a particularly formatted packet to an endpoint that you define. And then the other is where you send data with authentication into Slack, where it can then post messages on your behalf or invite users to a channel as needed. So what we had to do is we use the Google Cloud Functions, which are they're like an AWS Lambda like serverless function. So that anytime a packet would hit a certain endpoint within our Cloud Functions address, we would then fire off some JavaScript logic to post messages in the Slack, or to invite a user to a channel, or to pull a resource out of the DB and pass it in a specially formatted Slack message using their block builder. I'm happy to explain any more of those details if you'd like.
No, that's good. Yeah, so that concludes the questions for Team Slacker. Yeah, great job, everyone. Let me just share my screen. All right, so great job and fantastic demos. In just 2 weeks, you built these amazing applications, and we can't wait to see what you all are able to build in the future. As mentioned before, my name is Tom Preet. I'm the lead instructor here at Code Platoon, and I'm accompanied by my incredible instructor and colleague, Ankur Shah. Next, I'd like to thank our amazing TA interns, Praise Abada, Kate Kim, Rina Jiang, Juan Yang, and Ashwin Srinivasan. Your outstanding support the last 3 months have made Oscar Platoon a success, and Ankur and I can't thank you enough. And now for the closing ceremonies. Congratulations, Alexander Saunders.
Congratulations, Andrew Whitford.
Congratulations, Don Kelly.
Congratulations, Jack Schuff.
Congratulations, James White.
Congratulations, Jeremiah Maga.
Congratulations, Jonas Palakis.
Congratulations, Jung Park.
Congratulations, Kyle Gunter.
Congratulations, Mark Stanley.
Congratulations, Musa Shangunli.
Congratulations, Reno Averill.
Congratulations, Sarah Delheim.
Congratulations, Sean Kernan.
Congratulations, Stephen Sun.
Congratulations, Tianlin Kai.
Congratulations, Timothy Gaston.
And congratulations, Vincent Brunstad. So all you students, you guys did a tremendous job in the last four months, from where you guys started off to where you guys are now. Again, you guys put in the work, and Tom and myself and the rest of the staff at Code Platoon, we're here to guide you, but it is your dedication, your hard work, your immense hours from week to week that got you to this point. So again, definitely congratulations to all of you guys. We've laid a foundation for you guys, and you guys will go on and build hopefully a great house on top of that foundation as you guys get into your software development career. So congratulations to you all. Great job there. Tom, hand it over to you.
Yeah, just reiterate, congratulations. And Oscar Platoon dismissed. Congratulations, everyone. Great job.